Hello, and thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to join me this evening, this afternoon, whenever. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if it's a benefit to you or somebody that you might know. And to those who are subscribers, I'd like to say thank you very much. It means a lot to me. With that said, I kind of wanted to take a look at, now that we've had a little bit more information of what happened over in Afghanistan. Please keep in mind that when it comes to the United States government and the military, nothing happens without 100% of the government's approval when it comes to the military. This whole thing requires an investigation that should lead to the impeachment for treason of several diplomatic officials in the United States government. I am aware already because of the Department of Homeland Security's bulletin that was recently put out that according to these statements, I am now considered a violent domestic terrorist. As I said before, people, please keep in mind who might actually be considered on this watch list. I am a Life Scout in the Boy Scouts, non-practicing ordained minister, of Navy vet, and here I am on this watch list for being a violent, no domestic violent crimes, no violent crimes. I don't really have a criminal record unless you want to count my divorces. Yes, they still go up there. Welcome to reality, people. And then in my area, we find out for the school board, we have an outright socialist running who says there's not enough and that what is currently going on is damaging critical race theory. He actually says it. He actually admits to being a socialist Democrat. Now the reason I call myself a Republican right now is because my state will not let me vote for a governor unless I'm either a Democrat or Republican registered. I also registered as a Republican because the Democrats scare me. Granted, even with Biden, who, just the other day, led us in a moment of silence, didn't lead us in a moment of prayer, but then he's up for being excommunicated. Yeah. Now, some of the things that have gone on in Afghanistan that I have been recording over the past couple of days, okay? This is not the America I grew up in. This is not the America I want my grandchildren growing up in. To show how badly things went. And now I understand we were trying to establish the Afghanistan people as a government, the stuff that America tends to do and somehow messes up. I was for leaving a small contingency force there, not outright just abandoning our bases, military equipment behind. Now this falls on the shoulders of General Milley. It is more important to that man for him to bring LGBTQ equality to the world. Yeah, look what had happened in Afghanistan and what it brought us. So, they were talking, oh, this wouldn't be the fall of Saigon. No, this is worse. Saigon, it took 2 months. This took 11 days. We won't even get to what is it, the Baku Bazi boys. Oh, all those people that are coming over here. San Francisco Gay Choir singing about how they're coming for our children. Yeah, I actually believe it at this point. $85 million worth of equipment. They have right now, the Taliban have the third largest Apache helicopter fleet in the world. This is how badly this became. Leave it to the American government to make something FUBAR. Now, I have suspicions about why. Because the Chinese are all buddy-buddy with the Taliban right now. And we just left how much military hardware? $2.6 trillion in U.S. assets. 5 bases, which could have easily, we didn't even destroy them on the way out. We just handed them over to the Taliban. These are the people that 20 years ago destroyed the World Trade Center and declared war on us, America. And what are we doing now? We had 13 servicemen die yesterday because of the botched effort by our government. Well, we're sending planes with people, civilian aircraft that are coming in, are being sent away empty. Over 100 terrorists have already made it through because their papers were checked while they were in the air, only to find out that they were forgeries. How many people have gotten through that haven't? And again, what about the Baku-Bazi boys, where our military for the past 20 years have told them to ignore that thing? Look it up on Wikipedia if you want to know what it is. It is something, and yet we're bringing this Sharia democracy to America right now? Socialist democracy? I'm beginning to wonder that democracy, being on the left, those on the right are on the side of God, those on the left, they're not on the side of God. Non-practicing ordained minister, and I'm starting to think, I've always believed in God. More and more now. I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I'm not saying it's the apocalypse. I'm just saying it's, there is a war here, and I've heard multiple times it is a spiritual war. And right now, our government is coming out saying we're relying on the kindness of the Taliban. Terrorists. For the past 20 years, our military has been, shoot on sight with the Taliban kind of war. Oh, but now we're relying on their kindness to allow the U.S. citizens to get by. Now, mind you, to continue with the State of the Union, we have the U.S. putting out a list of people, civilians, that they want their information on. Civilians for the past year because they had some relation to Donald Trump. Now, this is the January 6th Commission. Private individuals' emails and other communications the government is trying to get. This is incredibly worrisome. $85 billion in equipment was left behind. Yet at the same time, with all of this inflation, because right now also money machine go burr, we've got all these people coming in, COVID-19 going on. Yet the government has already announced that those on Social Security and disability will only have a 6% increase in their income. How much are you willing to bet, and I bet it's going to happen, the Senate will vote for their own raise? Now, these are benefits that the government pays out to those who are disabled, those who are elderly, the sick and elderly, the sick and disabled. There was it tends to not just be the National Socialist Party of Germany, but the communists, even Mao's communist China, take out the disabled and elderly first, because they are a burden on society. That alone is not a good Christian ethic to uphold. Again, proof socialism is against Christianity. We need to stand up, people. We need to stand up for what is right in America. This country was not based on socialism. The demonization of people. It was not based on the demonization of others. It was based on the idea and concept of temperance, forgiveness, and equality for everybody. Not an equitable outcome, but equality. There is, again, a difference. These are the things that our country was based on. Socialism is based off of envy, greed, and jealousy. There is no redeeming quality in socialism of any kind. All socialism ever does is an attempt to kill and murder other people for those to get ahead. Socialism is driven by the devil. Socialism is what is infecting America right now like a plague. We've all heard about Eisenhower and how he went after the communists. And right about now, I'm beginning to wonder if that was such a bad idea. Again, I declare myself a independent normally. A current governor of my state I want has made it that I have had to declare myself as a Republican. And ever since then, I have gotten nothing but grief. That woman also needs to be removed from office. These corrupt politicians. The problem is we need good men to stand up and take these positions of political authority. What was Trump's crime? He never served in the military, and he'd never held political office beforehand. Now we have a man who spent his entire life in political office as our president, and look at what he's done. What happened in Afghanistan was 100% intentional by the American government, because, again, the military does not do anything without the direct involvement and oversight of the president or the U.S. government. What happened was 100% intentional, that the Afghan military get $85 million in equipment, 2,000 vehicles, and was left behind in Afghanistan. How is it that you don't move this valuable equipment out? Now, mind you, at the same time, we have our president who is saying that he needs to restrict gun control, yet he just armed the Taliban. What is this country coming to, people? When they're trying to take away your guns, but they're giving away guns to who? Terrorists, known terrorists. ISIS-K, please. What is this, like Special K? Oh, these are the special Taliban. They're still Taliban. ISIS are not. They're in the middle of a civil war that we got involved in. Didn't want to finish. We should have either decided to finish or get rid of. 200 helicopters were left behind on these 5. Mind you, the weird thing is we're still at Kabul. Small base. The big base that was just a little ways away. Why haven't we sent in the Marines? Now that we've lost 13 people, why don't we go in and retake the real air base? Not this little airfield that's like a private airstrip. 200 helicopters. That is more. The Taliban right now have more Black Hawk helicopters than 85% of the world's military. They are the third strongest military at this moment. Granted, they're a bunch of barbaric 800 AD barbarians and sheep farmers, but you know, they're actually trying to fly the Black Hawks. This administration has no plans to get this backed up, fix this FUBAR. They have no plans to get the bases back, nor do they plan to. They honestly plan to be out by the deadline the Taliban told us. The Taliban told us, America, when to get out. They gave us a deadline. Our president is so weak and feckless that the Taliban can dictate terms to America. I'm going to pause for a second and let that thing sink in. That alone tells the state of where we were at. Here's the problem if we were to impeach Biden right now for treason, which he is guilty of by giving the Taliban a list of Americans, green cards, and those Afghanis we want out. He gave a list to our enemies of these people. Not only has this moron given a list to the Russians going, oh, don't attack these 16 things with your cyber attacks, but everything else is fair game. Is your name on that list? No. You're fair game as far as he's concerned. What happened to no American gets left behind? Now, we may find anywhere, depending on estimates, conservative numbers say as many as 1,000 Americans will be left behind. Up to 10,000 Americans are trapped in Afghanistan throughout the entire country right now. Mr. President, Mr. Biden, the deaths of the Americans from this point forward is solely your responsibility. You may have well pulled the trigger yourself. During all of this that's been going on with Afghanistan, where is Pelosi? She's the third person in charge of the United States. Pelosi right now was in San Francisco celebrating Women's Equality Day. The vice president, second person in charge of the United States of America right now. Where is she? Where was she? In Vietnam, talking about gay rights and promoting gay rights, while 13 Americans died. 13 servicemen died because of an ill-conceived plan. Mind you, okay, let's go over. And here's the horrible state of the union that we are in right now. If Biden is impeached, that leaves us with Camel Toe Harris, the woman who slept her way through office, and Lord knows why they even put her up as vice president. Nancy Pelosi. Trust me, this woman really does believe she is your better. Why? Because she's been in politics her whole life. She is corrupt as anything. She is incredibly corrupt and will never look for your interest. She'll only look for hers. She is a socialist. Chuck Schumer. Where's Chuck Schumer? He's talking and busy going on about how, again, Republicans are the biggest threat to America right now, when we have just let in how many Taliban? How many people who support Bakubazi boys? How many people that support Sharia law? Oh, wait, Sharia, because Sharia law is Islamic law when it's translated, so it's like Sharia law. La, 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 la. Anyways, yeah, no, I'm not a big fan. Again, back to, so after Schumer, okay, is General Milley. And what's General Milley's biggest concern, obviously, with Afghanistan going the way it is? Not only does he give the excuse, I was just following orders. Okay, somebody needs to take that man out and shoot him. I was just following orders. For him, the most important thing for the American military to promote is LGBTQ rights throughout the world. Well, now we can see where that LGBTQ rights has gotten America. It's gotten servicemen killed. It's caused us to become failed. We failed in the most embarrassing war. The most embarrassing military action. This is such a farce. In my lifetime, it could have all been avoided, Millie, if you had actually said, let's see. I was told either the embassy or the airport was the most important, and I chose the embassy to protect. And what'd we do? We gave it up like that. Dude, you didn't even protect the embassy. Please. You were such an absolute moron. This is the problem with our military, too. Somehow we get these inept idiots. Dude's probably got an an IQ of 85. And he's supposed to be your better. These are the people who are telling us they are our betters. Please. What do you know? You got lucky. You blew somebody. That's why you're pushing the LGBTQ rights, huh, Millie? There is something going on. I believe it's October 7th. They're calling for all vets to gather at the Lincoln Memorial. I am seriously considering joining that myself. To stand out and say, this is wrong of what's going on with America. The guy's only been in 7 months. We've lost our energy independence. We've had our biggest military defeat in U.S. history. And inflation is rising. The dollar. We're just handing money out to everybody in the world, just not here in America. We're not supporting our Americans. Oh, but when we do, we have it in such way that we've shut down production. We have no manufacturing here in the United States. It's all been shipped overseas. We are in a horrible state, America. We are in a horrible state, and we are declining, and we are falling, and we are going to fall worse than the Roman Empire ever did. Most popular president in U.S. history, my butt. But if you say anything about or question how the election went down, you were considered a domestic violent terrorist by the U.S. government. Take a look at the Department of Homeland Security bulletin that was released on the 13th of this month. If you speak out against COVID and any COVID mandates, and if you speak out, what was there was another one on there. They were just basically, that's it? Really? You got to be kidding me. You just declared half of America as being domestic violent terrorists. We need good politicians who are driven by compassion, not driven by greed and selfishness. Again, funny, how many of the 7 deadly sins can you name our Catholic president of being guilty of in just the past 7 months? Bad politics come from a place of hate and always want to see people exterminated, removed, killed. Most socialists you'll hear talk about this. No, the right extremists, they need to be killed. Now, mind you, I'm not advocating for violence. We have a way to take care of this. It's called the power of voting. Use your vote wisely. Pay attention to who you're voting for, people. We can fix America without having to resort to violence. I honestly believe that, because after all, that is what the Bible promotes. Forgiveness, compassion. If we vote with our leaders having these qualities within them, we can improve our nation. But if we continue to vote for these feckless, corrupt politicians whose only interest is really themselves, this country will continue to burn and be an example, and we will find ourselves more impoverished. We are already heading down that road of being more impoverished than a poor Russian from the 60s to the 90s. The impoverished Russian people, because you had Russian people and impoverished Russians. I do not want to be as poor as an impoverished Russian. I like my stuff. I like personal property. I love capitalism. I think God's a capitalist. I said it. Yes, non-practicing ordained minister. I think God is a capitalist. He definitely supports it a lot better than he does communism, because communism believes that the government should be your God. That there is no being higher in this universe than those you have elected to office as the government. Look at Xi Jinping. That is exactly how he runs the CDC. People, wake up. Now, the report I heard was 13 military people, 170 civilians injured, and 132 people that were unidentifiable from the bombing in Afghanistan. This is because the Taliban let them through. Why don't we say, okay, Taliban, we put you in charge of the security. You screwed up. We're coming in and we're going to kick your butt. No, we're letting the Taliban dictate terms to us. We are negotiating with terrorists. Where has our country gone? Sorry. It's a bit upsetting. One other thing I wanted to bring up real quick. Has anybody noticed that, I believe it was Wednesday, Pfizer and Moderna stock was like falling like a rock. Wait, that was Tuesday. And Wednesday, the FDA came out and announced that they are going to approve one of these vaccines. This is good and bad, because now, the minute that they did that, our governors turned around and mandated that we take these meds. We have to take them without knowing what is in them. People, so it just happens to be September 11th, which, weird how so many things are coinciding with September 11th. September 11th of this year, these medical places, these people that are pushing these vaccines, these pharmaceutical companies must put what's on the label, what's in the bottle. Moderna has already reported, and you can check it on their website. My skills at this isn't good enough yet to flash it on the screen yet. I will get there someday. You can check on Moderna's website. The main active ingredient in Moderna's vaccine shot is antifreeze. The same stuff that's in antifreeze, people. Take a look at what they're demanding you put in your body. I don't know. I grew up being told antifreeze will kill you. Now they're trying to put it in your body. Smoking was going to kill you too. Maybe I should start smoking again. Anyways, I'd like to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to join me this evening. We'll see what survives. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with others. Those who are following me, thank you very much. Leave a comment. Anybody's free to leave a comment down below. I do read them. And if you have any suggestions about future videos, I know I have a few coming up about the Democratic Party. America, beware of socialism, especially if you consider yourself a good Christian. Thank you very much, and have yourselves a very beautiful day.